first time.
The 1994 Brisca Formula 1 stock car racing season got underway at the Northampton International Raceway, with Junior Wayman starting where he left 1993 with a meeting final victory. 4 meetings later, after final wins by John Wright and Junior Wayman, the season came on April the 4th with the opening fixture at Bradford's Udsall Stadium. Within the first lap of Heat 1, the entire raceway was blanketed with snow, but the weather couldn't stop a decisive Lund Heat 3 victory and a classic consolation duel between Andy Smith and Junior Wayman, who ploughed through a big Bradford grid for a 1-2 finish. Rob Hughes takes up the commentary on the high points of the opening Bradford meeting, a type of race which would also be seen at the last Udsall of the year.
As has 250 from 78, 236 and 212. Frankie Wayman's wide on the top turn, and Lund gets the better of the two red tops. Power his way right on the back end of him now, and here comes the bumper from the ex-world champion, and that's all the opportunity that Lund needed. Get that car going as Lund now through the last turn and sees the checker flag. He wins. Heat show for Alistair Forsyth in 251. Throws the bumper in hard. And 226 Mark Webster goes to the fence with number 80 John Angus. Then 277 Martin Southwell, 297 Nick Field, and 251 Ali Forsyth. Now looking for fourth, he gets it. The Scotsman trying to charge his way through, coming to terms with Brisca Formula 1 power. First blue top to show is 250 Keith Chambers, the ex-hot stock pilot. Then 343 Barry Heath, and the first star man 391 Andrew Smith. But it's still Wilkinson, already having passed the back marker 73 Rob Kelly. Here comes a big pile up. Oh, and look at Len Morris in car 12. Nearly rolled it there. But look at the melee through the top turn. 369 Bill McGowan being pushed aside by 250 Keith Chambers. Here they come through the pits turn. Oh, and look at Chambers there, lost it completely. Andrew Smith seizes the opportunity, powers his way through, and now lies in second with Junior Wayman at the wheel of the Burt Finnegan car in third place. Andrew Smith tries to hold him out there, neck and neck down the back straight, as both of them catch up the leader. Nigel Wilkinson in 421. 421, 391 now, looking for the... Oh! Clouted towards the fence as the white top got it wrong, and Junior Wayman goes through. Wayman now just about to take the lead. Here he comes through the top turn. 515 now leads the consolation, but here comes Andy Smith right back at him, and will be looking to put the bumper in if he can. It's 515, 391. Oh, and Junior Wayman nearly tangles with Cowley there, but keeps the power on sufficiently to keep himself clear of Andrew Smith. But Smith now, as they are both being pulled by the 369 driver, but the checker flag goes to Wayman, and Junior takes the consolation victory ahead of 391 Andy Smith and number 2 Paul Harrison in third. Here comes John Lund.
Rounding off the biggest and best meeting of the season so far was a fine Derek Fairhurst final victory. Other points of interest at the opening Udsall included Keith Chambers, an ex-hot stocks driver who was getting good results in only his first Formula 1 season, and the Grand National won by another of the 94 revelations, caliber 329, Richard Brighton.
218, Derek Fairhurst takes a second grand final victory ahead of 34.
In towards the pit, Wally Pitton sideways on Mike Dives collects him, and they both
The Brisca F1 crash fans didn't have long to wait for the first big crash incident of 1994. We joined Dave Edwards at the first Long-Eaton race of the season as John Wright and Shane Dorrell battle for the lead.
They're back into the home straight. Oh, and there's problems on the home straight, and over goes Glyn Daft. And the yellow's a call for. We've gone yellow. Markers around him as he heads down towards the pit gate turn.
Following Danny Clark's Heat 2 victory, the purist race fan was treated to a fantastic Heat 3 duel when 362 Lionel Shaw spent the whole race blocking Les Spencer and Bobby Burns. When the race started to come down in the meeting, later races went to Dave Johnson, Peter Faulding and Paul Harrison. But we joined Heat 3 as Malvern's Les Spencer challenges for the lead ahead of Burns, Andy Smith and John Lund.
John Lund is 4th in 53. Kev Smith 5th in 64, Andy Smith 6th in 391, 7th is 26 Ray Williams and 8th 337 Dave Willis, 9th 250 Keith Chambers and 10th 380 Stephen Cato. And we move on through the second half. And a problem over on the far side there for one of the yellow tops, but up front the battle is on for the lead. It was Wayne Handley who was on the infield. They've got 5 to run next time as the leaders trot down the back straight. 362 and 98. Spencer gets in behind Shaw and gives him a hefty one on the back bumper there. And Spencer trying to come through on the inside. Lionel Shaw trying to keep him out, but Spencer's through. With 5 to run, it's 98 Les Spencer taken over now from 362 Lionel Shaw. Bobby Burns still getting closer to them in 471. He's in 3rd place, and John Lund's not completely out of it yet. He's running 4th in 53. So off turn 4 and down the home straight they come. 98 and 362. 471 and 53. And Lionel Shaw closing on Les Spencer, still hoping to take this one. It's 98 and 362, past some back markers who slowed down on that pit turn, but they're through down the home straight as we go on through these closing stages. And Les Spencer doing his best to shift those back markers. Wolf Walls just felt the bumper treatment there. Here's Spencer on the home straight, 98, Shaw second, 362. Wolf Walls tries to push Lionel Shaw out, but they're straight on himself towards the fence. And on the back straight, Les Spencer's now gone clear. It's Bobby Burns who's gone second, 471. So that attention from Wilf Warnes has cost Lionel Shaw a couple of places. Spencer the leader as they go through on to the last. Burns second in 471. Shaw is 3rd and John Lund 4th. And down the back straight, it's 98 Les Spencer clear of Bobby Burns in 471. Lionel Shaw trying to keep John Lund out of 3rd place. Off turn 4 and looking for the checkered. And 98 Les Spencer wins it. 471 Bobby Burns is 2nd. 3rd man home is 362 Lionel Shaw with John Lund finishing 329. Back left to be the top right at the moment is Burns and number 2 chasing his way through the field.
April the 16th saw the welcome return of Saturday night tarmac racing at Birmingham Wheels. Star of the meeting had to be Danny Clark, who refused to move over for Keith Chambers or for anyone else for that matter. New cars at the wheels were debuted by Paul Harrison, Ian Higgins and John Lund. But race wins went to Neil Long, who was well on his way to a red roof after just 6 meetings, Gaz Bott, who had just missed out on the opening Northampton final, and Peter Faulding. The rival duo of Dan Clark and Keith Chambers came 1st and 2nd in the consolation, with the Formula 1 newcomer throwing in the bumper and outrunning Clark in the final. Keith was now a leading F1 point scorer, which is why Rob Hughes interviewed the ex-Hot Stocks champion.
Well, the start of the season is always very interesting because of new drivers and new cars. We've got one of both here, number 250 Keith Chambers, who's made the move over from the Hot Stock Formula in season 1994. Hello, Keith.
Hello, mate.
Right, can you tell us a little bit about why you came over from the Hot Stocks?
I just felt like I'd go in the Formula 1. I got the sponsor to back me in it, and at one point I thought the Hot Stocks were finished, so I thought now must be the time to get out.
Were you looking forward to a greater challenge as well?
Yeah. The trouble is there's not enough cars now in that. It's like, in my eyes, it's dying fast, but I'd like to see it carry on because I enjoyed it in that.
Right, so can you tell us a little bit about the car that you've got here?
Bought it from Clive Linton, ready to race really. Not done nothing to it herself, and it's alright, it's all down to Clive really, what's in the car.
And what's under the hood?
A 510.
Any modifications that you've put in yourself at all, or like you say, is it just Clive's idea so far?
Just Clive's ideas so far.
So how do you find the difference out on the track?
Alright, it's just getting used to the power really, innit? The car setup's really the same. The tyres are better in this, and it's getting used to the power.
How did you find Coventry on the Saturday night?
Good. It's just the experience I'm lacking. Like I've just got to get a bit of you know, you want to win or something, don't you, to give you that bit more courage, and then you're halfway there, aren't you? It's just getting used to everything.
And looking forward to Bradford tonight?
Yeah, should have a good night hopefully. Hope we don't get a lot of damage.
As long as this snow doesn't keep on falling, like it should make it a little bit better.
Well, it don't matter, does it? Keep the dust down, won't it?
Okay, Keith, thanks for your time. Enjoy yourself tonight.
Thank you.
Trying to stand it all hard down this race, moving inside Craig.
The April the 23rd Long Eaton meeting saw the first 1994 final for the new living legend, car number 64, Kev Smith, in one of his most characteristic, no mercy final drives. Other events at Station Road were Richard Brighton's second Grand National win of the month, Shane Dorrell's first ever race win in his new Wayman machine, an amazing consolation with white hot 97 Murray Harrison exhaust, and a dismal meeting for Frankie Wayman Jr., whose first place in the national points looked in danger after scoring only 3 points at Station Road.
Looking into the home straight, it's Wally trying to retake or trying to take second place. At the moment, all cars mobile. Something fun there in the car there. One of those cars is stuck is Peter Folding. A lot of the star men have been trapped there. Paul Harrison, Burns doing under the car at 4.424 second, and Dave Johnson in 3.83 third. Paul Harrison has already lost time, as has Bobby Burns. So, and Shane Dorrell there collects the fence along with is the son of not John, but of Alan Kayser, who was racing Formula One many years ago, and it's a vintage performance so far. Let's just hope he can hang in there and claim this win. You really ought to let Burnsley go, because Burnsley is a lap down. He doesn't have to worry about that. So John Kayser in 380, your lead car. Got red tops all around him, but second place James Davis is a long way down, the length of a straight down, and unless something dramatic happens, this could be a Kayser win. We're into the well into the second half of the race. 380 there in the lead position. Drifted wide at that stage with the threat of a stationary Wayman senior car in the bend, but no need to worry, it's still 380 in the lead position. Peter Folding has gone over there in the pit bend, and it's 5 next time for the 380 car. 5 next time. Now can this second generation racer from Saffron Walden hang in there and claim a remarkable victory? 380 your lead car, 464 second, and 64 Kev Smith third. Jamie Davis is now beginning to close. Visibly closing with 4 this time round. So 380 your lead car, 464 now closing in second, and Kev Smith not so very far behind in third. So the first, second and third now all getting together, and Kev Smith is the one that looks as if he knows where he's going. Davidson swings wide, it's Kev Smith now up second, so 380 first, 64 second, and 464 third. It's 3 laps this time for Kayser, but it starts to look as if this is Kev Smith's final. And there goes a bumper. And that was a bit hard. That was a bit hard by Kev Smith. Poor Kayser there is well and truly destroyed. The yellow flag's out, but he seems to be okay. So it's Kev Smith now in the lead position with Jamie Davis in second. And moving up into third place, it looks like. Probably John Lund, we're not sure who's been out and who's not. Very hard luck there on Steve Kaiser with only 2 to go, so it's 1 lap to go. The last lap, Kevin Smith throwing the bumper around, obviously got the bit between his teeth and feeling like success. Hard hitter Kev Smith down the back straight for the last time, but quite a significant lead over Jamie Davidson. And here he comes for the checkered from Huddersfield, 64 Kev Smith. That's Kev's first final win of the season as far as we know.
Green, dead on time, away we go. Frenetic action.
During the second half of the 1993 season, Kings Lane earned the reputation as the track with Boston's atmosphere and Coventry's tidiness, and the 1994 Formula 1 driver couldn't wait to get on the unique Golden Shale. The first chance came on April the 24th and the racing was brilliant. In the first race, car number 73 Rob Cowley survived the carnage caused by vicious overwatering to lead the race up to its conclusion. But Frankie Wayman Jr. had other ideas and threw the Finnegan car into a legendary lunge to push Cowley out of first place. He too saw the official 1994 debut of the long-time yellow top Matthew Bennett, with a composed heat win despite the attentions of Des Chandler and a host of out-of-control starmen. Along with Matt Bennett, Mark Gilbank was the other B-grader who would do well in 1994, and these two drivers would make the first Kings Lane final a classic. We join that final as Gilbank, in his new self-built folding style car, closes on Matthew Bennett.
And still the cars come through, but it's all out. Matthew Bennett in this one, 4-1-3, he peels off turn 4, plenty of carnage around him. He's got the checker, 4-1-3, Matthew Bennett, the first 3 then, bumper to bumper around turns 3 and 4, and it's Lund that comes out on top. Lund coming through just ahead of Foley, who scorches underneath Craig Howard. So we're set for a battle royal then. That was 3 lap more to go, and Lund's been broadsided by Foley, that's left 52. Still clear, 52 is clear, but Lund now in hot pursuit as well. So it was a dramatic turn of events there on the 3 laps to go board. He decides on Craig Howard. They come off turns 3 and 4 down to the home straight finishing line. Craig Howard takes the checker flat. In trouble there. Could this be the chance to kill that one? Halfway next time, Mr. Starter. Halfway next time. Still all to play for, it's still 4-1-3. We could well have a change this time, because on the inside it's Mark Gilbank, and still 4-1-3, fends him off. A tyre there on the exit at turn 4, causing problems, and the drivers now begin to know it's there. It's Bennett then. Gets the bumper treatment, but he's still holding his line, still holding steadfast. But Gilbank trying to come through in 21, still fended off. He puts the bumper in again on turn 1. It really is enthralling. Aside he's still a 91 then in 3rd spot now, right in the fray from 52. First 4 cars and literally bumper to bumper. Here they come then. 1, 2, 3, 4, Mr. Starter. They zip through the start and finish line once more. Just looking who's coming through in 5th spot, it's 53, John Lund. But it's still this tremendous race up front, captivating everyone here. It's still 4-1-3 from 21. 4-1-3 then, setting this pace. Matt Bennett from Killingham along the side. He's still there from 21, and 91 will not be denied. That's Wolf Warnes. He's trying everything he knows. 5 next time. The lap board comes out. We're coming to a tremendous climax in this Brisca Formula 1 stock car. Look at the lead cars down that back straightaway. The 4 locked together. And it's still Matt Bennett in 4-1-3. 21 is Gilbank. Then we got 52, Craig Howarth, as Wolf Warnes drops off the pace. The yellow tops dominating this Brisca Formula 1 final. First of the Reds is in 5th spot, that's 53, John Lund. There's a leader, 4-1-3, from 21, 52, 91, 53. That's the 5 lead cars. That's how they're racing around the circuit. It's an absolutely tremendous spectacle. The dust might be flying, but it is literally 3 laps to go there for Matthew Bennett. In 4-1-3, can he hold off the car of Mark Gilbank in 21? At 52, Craig Hill, the yellow tops dominating ferociously this lead in the Brisca Formula 1 Grand Final at Kings Lynn. 2 laps there for Matthew Bennett. He's led right from the start. Can he cling on to the lead? The 3 gladiators up front locked together. Wolf Warnes is in 4th spot and John Lund 5th. On Gilbert, he's going high, wide and handsome round turns 4 there, but he's still on the racing line. It's the last lap. The checker flag's going to come. Will Gilbang hang off, or will Matthew Bennett survive this attack? It's Bennett from Gilbang. Gilbang comes through. He's going to take the checker. 21. He's got it. What a tremendous race from Mark Gilbang. Absolutely sensational stuff. Brisca Formula 1 stock car racing, and it's very, very...
Gilbank takes a tangle right in front of Gilbank there, 275. Paul Farron, Gilbank's lost it, he's gone. And that puts Ian Platts in the lead, a tangle with Peter Foley in third in number 1.
The last meeting in April could well have been the most awaited Chesterton meeting ever. In early February, with next to no chance of preparing the track in time for the March opener, the then promoter, Stuart Smith, offered up the track licence for sale. And taking up the offer was the 3-man consortium of Vince Moody, Tim Mann and Dennis Higgins. From March up to April, the ex-Boston staff went to work on the track with the rest of the Guild crew, sorting out health and safety requirements in time for the April the 30th meeting and the beginning of the Stoke Auto Speedway. After a thrilling Heat 1, which more than matched the action at last weekend's Kings Lynn, the 60 cars in attendance caused one of the most destructive meetings so far, with numerous pile-ups culminating in a scary fence post incident involving Dave Beresford on the back straight in the final. The final itself went to blue top Dave Johnson, who would go on to make the Stoke Auto Speedway one of his best results tracks of 1994.
Thanks to the couple of race cautions, not too many left running. Andy Smith in trouble around turns. Checkered flags are ready. Here he comes to win the grand final. Dave Johnson takes it in 383. And Craig Houth is the first to go, number 52, causing a pile-up down there on turns. Go down the back straight towards turns 3 and 4. 400, Jim comes straight with blue top John Wright making a forward move in 128. Gaz Barter's gone to the infield, number 41.
Towards the front of the pack is Mark Webster in car number 226. Rob Bradshaw too manages to move hard.
The May Bradford meeting heralded a new grading period, and as always the points scored so far would indicate the movers in the coming year. Junior Wayman was in the top spot with a 29-point average, followed by Peter Falding, who had a 33-point average, then Harrison, Hudson and Beresford behind, while further down the list, Gaz Bott, Neil Long, Mal Brown and Shane Norrell had entered the start grade for the first time. One of the drivers starting his way up the grades was Heat 1 winner Stephen Kaiser, who was racing a self-built Speedway-style F1 to runaway victories for most of the season. Other heats went to Junior Wayman and Dave Johnson, with Lond executing some inspired moves to win the Grand National after a heat and final double from Andy Smith. Andy was the source of great surprise at the May regrading with an out-of-place blue roof on the car. Rob Hughes investigated this further after Andy's heat win.
That proves it to be the case. Oh, and in they go again. That's still flying in there. Richard Mason looks like the other car involved. And again, it's all happening there as somebody tries to get into the cab with an easily move. But he's going to be that time. Away he goes, straight away. Oh, and wallop. That was it. It had got to come, and it did. The bumper went in hard. outside line. He chops away through though.
Heat number 3 won at Bradford Stadium, 391 Andy Smith. Well done, Andy.
Thank you very much, Franz. Cheers.
Ironically, we were talking before this race here behind us, and you were saying what a rubbish season you had so far.
Absolutely terrible, I can't believe it. We finished last year so well, and this year's just been one disaster to another. We've had so much damage. We've got a different power unit in, which isn't quite as powerful as last year's, but that really hasn't been the difference. It's just, I just haven't been getting the brakes at all. I've had punctures, half shafts, mechanical failures galore. I mean, this weekend we've had more damage this weekend over Stoke on Saturday and Bolton yesterday than we've had for a long time, but we kept going. Me and my mechanic Cecil, you know, credit to him, he's put a lot of hours in this weekend. We more or less rebuilt the car all day today for tonight, and we've won the heat, and that'll do me. I'm happy with that. At least it's a race win. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been downgraded to blue now for this month. Hopefully up to red soon.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have said to me, oh, you're down to blue, you know, you should be away. But I didn't want to go down to blue, you know. I mean, the object of the sport is to get as high up the grades as you can. I mean, I've never played grades, and I never will do. I was very disappointed when I went down to blue, but I've done all the meetings. It's just sheer bad luck and a bad average why I'm downgraded, you know.
But winning from blue, that's fairly difficult because you're in front of the reds, but behind the yellows, so in traffic.
Yeah, in a very busy heat where there's a lot of cars, i.e. like tonight, I mean the format that they're running, there's a lot of cars on the track at once. It is sometimes a little bit more difficult. Depends on what brakes you get. You can be piled up over the beams in one race and you can get away in another, but you know, I mean, you just race them wherever they put you, and they put me at blue, so there's nothing I can do with that about that, is there really?
And plans for the season 1994?
Well, my plans for the season aren't exactly what they started out at, really. No, I just want to finish some races and get my red roof back. I mean, I didn't have big plans anyway. It's only my first full year of racing, so Formula One's tough at the top. So you know, take the rough with the smooth, and if I can have as good a season and finish as high up as I did last year, I'll be very pleased.
And the new car you said before?
Yeah, the new car. It's quite a long way off, to be honest. We've had that much damage with this car. It's very difficult to get any work done on it, and we've had a new transporter to build as well. But with a bit of luck, if I can keep this car in one piece now and get a few evenings on the new car, it'll be ready in a couple of months.
Anyway, well done in Heat 3. Good luck for the final. You need the points for the World Championship.
Yeah, it's qualifier, isn't it? Yeah, I'll bear that in mind. Thanks, Franz. Cheers.
Down into turns 3 and 4. Andy Smith going with a late rattle there to try and nudge the Higgins car aside, but it didn't work. They didn't connect.
2 weeks into May, the Brisca Formula One's returned to Hednesford for a double Grand Prix and World Qualifying Round meeting. Junior Wayman dominated the results. The actual races featured close racing along with some severe vehicle contact. Following an Ian Higgins car number 29 Heat 1 win, Bob Cowley brought Heat 2 to a halt when he got on the wrong side of car number 109 Phil Smith and 221 Stephen Cooper.
Steve Cooper in 221, just having a nudge there, but Phil Smith holding on in 109. It's Cowley second, Cooper third, and Wayman right there with them in 515, and there go the bumpers, and Cowley's up and over he goes. In all sorts of trouble up there. We go yellow. Yep.
Despite this race stoppage, Junior Wayman needed to race all the way to the last bend for the win. Meanwhile, Frans van Soest was in the pits with rollover star Rob Cowley.
Cowley, was a good one, Rob.
Yeah, it was pretty good, wasn't it? I've just seen it on the video, recall, and it was it looked pretty exciting actually. It was all right.
I think you were going for the lead, but it went a bit wrong, didn't it?
Well, yeah, I'd committed myself to hitting Phil to take the lead, Phil Smith that is, and Stevie Cooper had obviously committed himself to hitting me. I mean, it was a good, close race. It was stock car racing. You know, when people say there's no stock car racing on tarmac, it's roundy, well, that's just proved them wrong, isn't it? I mean, that was proper stock car racing, plenty of bumper, no bother at all. You know, all it was is I just got it a little bit, I got hooked up on Phil Smith, and that was it, it just flipped me straight over. But it's so fast round here, you see, you know, that if you do get it a little bit wrong, then you do flip. But that's stock car racing.
You've gone down to blue for this month, maybe because of similar things to what happened in Heat 2.
No, not really. We decided that we were going to alter the suspension on the cars. I run 2 cars, one for shine and one for tarmac, and we decided that we'd got to alter a few things because we were off the pace, all towards the end of last year especially. And we altered it, and it took a little bit of sorting out. Unfortunately, the first grading period came up before we did sort it. But since then, I've now already scored enough points to put myself back up to red.
Kings. The next heat starred the yellow top wonder Mark Gilbank, who was not trying hard enough to hold off Wayman. Ian Higgins noticed this, and going into the last bend, the 29 car went for a real demolition attempt on Mark. Ian came off worse, and following Junior's final, Mark Gilbank proved his new machine on tarmac with the Stocks Line Grand National victory in an enjoyable return to the big track.
Hard as we can and try and win another race. So, you know, things come slowly.
21 days into making the first Brisca Formula 1 Championship of 1994, the Skegness staged British Drivers' Championship. Unfortunately for the hard-working Trackstar team, the weekend suffered the worst East Coast weather of the year. But ironically, the night-long drizzle made the tarmac specials useless and threw up some surprising results. Races on the night went to Ian Higgins, who was racing with a broken hand. Craig Howarth took a heat in his Pontec machine, along with white top Richard Johnson and Richard Mason. A complete and utter bumperfest of a Heat 3 went to Andy Smith, and Frans van Soest caught up with the star of the race, Kev Smith, in the pits, along with the main car number 64 target, Junior Wayman.
64, 212, Frankie Wayman. Car number 52, Craig Howard, 434. 64 gets a whack, the front bumper used to advantage. Bumpers away past 515 and into the turn they go. My goodness, things getting a little broad, a little race rattle between those. So there's a race for lifetime for those lads. On we go with the leader, 391, and it's not over yet. 29 is on the inside, 515 is coming along, and 64 look.
Well, look at that blue paint. Look, zoom in down there. Come on, zoom in. Look at this. That's that. There's more blue on your front. Oh, no, look at it all. No, it won't. It's mine.
Mr. Smith having an interesting conversation with 515 Junior Wayman.
He wants banning. He's too rough, is that lad? You know, he's a joke into right fair. I mean, we're out there trying to do 20 laps, round and round, without touching anybody, and he's got a wall you up, it's a joke.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. You're well known for causing a bit of chaos at this track as well.
That's a long time ago now, is that? I've sobered up a bit since then.
Have you?
Just a bit.
Well, you're track champion at Skegness, so you must fancy your chances for tonight?
I don't know, you just take each race as it comes, and it's wet enough, it slows all top men down a bit, so we'll see how it goes.
Are you top man?
Me top? No way. I'm at bottom, me. Best place.
You've been going well this season until, I think last...
First meeting.
King's Lynn, wasn't it? Where the problem started.
We didn't have a bad King's Lynn, and from there, well, we've done no, but, you know, one place at each meeting, and that's been it. It's just been one of them things.
Yeah. Semi-finals on Shill this year must please you.
I'm not bothered, to be honest. I mean, I prefer racing tarmac out at 2, it's just that I ain't got equipment for it, but we'll see. Well, I know, it's a bit small. We've got an A2 here, not an 890. No, I'm not bothered, you just, like I say, you go out and you do your best, whatever surface, whatever track, don't you?
As long as you're at Bradford.
Oh yeah, I want to be at Bradford. In World Final, yeah, definitely.
Well, domination on tarmac, I can say this year so far, and last year, but this year it's going really well.
Yeah, it's going really well in dry. It's rained for the first time tonight. It's the first wet meeting we've ever done with car. We messed about with it before at the start of meeting and got it a lot better, and you know, I'm very happy with it. But tracks, I don't know, it's greasy and it's trying to dry out and it's got a lot of muck on it out at pits, and it's a bit, you've got to be very careful. It's not, you know, you've got to watch what you're doing out there really. I think especially in a meeting like this in your heats, you've just got to get your places and, you know, make sure that you're up there near the front. I was just talking to Andrew about, you know, what's going to happen in the final. I mean, Kev Smith's going to be up near the front anyway, you know, what's going to happen.
He had a good race with Kev in the last race.
Yeah, he's alright, he's Kev, you know, we get on alright, like he's a bit wild sometimes, but in everybody, so.
You are also points leader so far. Most of your points have been collected on tarmac, but you've been going well lately on shale as well.
Yeah, I've been using Bert Finnegan's car, which my new one ain't ready till Coventry, so I've been using Bert's car and I've got it going a lot better last few weeks, so I'm quite happy with it at the moment.
There's also talk about you working on a new car for shale. When can we expect that one out?
Yeah, well, at Coventry, the next Coventry, so got the engine for it this week, put it in, so just about ready for spraying and sign writing, so should be out then.
Is that car going to be like the one Shane's racing now?
It's very similar on the suspension. It's a little bit different, the shape of it's totally different. I've just tried to make it a little bit more interesting. I think they're getting all the same really, you know, one car looks very much like another one, so I've altered shape at roll cage a little bit and I've tried some different bits in suspension, so just have to see how it goes really.
Well, final at Bradford this year, what do you think? It's far away, isn't it?
No, it isn't. It isn't far away, but I mean, you know, I've been going quite well around there this year with Bert's car. I've had some good races like around there. I've run a couple, so you know, I know the track. It's just if the luck will hold up on the night, you know. But like, you've got to get there first, haven't you? So semi-finals are always, I don't know, they're a very special race, semi-finals somehow.
Yeah. All right.
The British Championship itself was an event well worthy of the title. A series of early race pilots left Phil Smith and Craig Howarth well ahead of the pack, but the drying track saw Junior into second at the halfway stage. We joined the race at halfway as car number 203, Danny Clark, comes from nowhere and goes for the lead.
Lodges the wheel right up on the car and through and round. Into the turn we go, and Craig Howarth goes in with a flash fire as 413 lands up in the safety barrier. As the rain begins to fall. So round the turn, 109, Phil Smith. Onto the far side we lose, 413 yet again. Out of the action goes he. He's certainly seen plenty as his finale. 202 ends his racing for the evening. And 109, 203 and 515 are the first three. So is it to be the blue graded 109? Can 203 Danny Clark catch him? In this 25 lap British Drivers' Championship final. 109, 203, 515. Danny Clark giving it his best shot. He shoots the 64 car into the back end of 109. And here we come now with 109, 203. 5 laps to run, Mr. Starter. Next time through, 5 laps next time. Well, on the tarmac here at Skegness Stadium. Conditions might not be absolutely perfect, but the racing is superb. And here we go now with Phil Smith, 109 with 5. 203, Danny Clark. Young, 515, Frankie Wayman. 203, Dan Clark is forced wide. Back to third spot he goes. So then, the leader is still well clear. Into the pitscape turn and onto the home straight. 109, Phil Smith, the leader. 515, Frankie Wayman. 203, Danny Clark. Fourth man is car number 1, Peter Faulding. And 391, Andy Smith is currently 5th. So then, with just 3 laps, there is the 109 car. Wayman Jr. is closing in. 203, Danny Clark sits his one out with the front wheel up and over the wires. The end of the race for Danny in 203. The penultimate lap board goes out, and there is 109, but it's Frankie Wayman, the man they're all watching here this evening. Frankie Wayman Jr. makes his way onto the far side with 1.5 Skegnix laps remaining. 109.515. Here we go now into the very, very last lap. 109, Phil Smith has 52. Howarth, a back marker ahead. 515, Frankie Wayman closing in. But this is going to be a win for the blue graded. Driver number 109, 515, Frankie Wayman, and around the turn for the final time with a checkered flag in sight. A win indeed for 109, 515. Comes in for second, number 1. Peter Faulding is third.
Through in car number 515, chased by Stevie Hodgson in 172. Dennis Murray Harrison in 97 on 172.
Back in 1993, the second Chesterton meeting was a pale shadow of the opener, but in 1994 the second Stoke Auto Speedway was the best of the year so far, providing everything from serious red-top rivalry with some great Des Chandler driving to comic relief as Steve Burgess drove into the drainage ditch. Man of the meeting was car number 380 Steve Kaiser, who ran away to an unexpected meeting final win when Andy Smith dropped out of the lead, somewhat characterising the 391 season up to that point. Meanwhile, Richard Brighton and Matthew Bennett rolled over for the cameras, Nigel Water won his first show race of the season, and Rob Pearce returned to racing. Races on May the 28th were won by Andy Smith and Wilf Warnes, with the new British champion Phil Smith winning Heat and Grand National.
That wasn't there the last time he went there, was it? In goes the bumper and 64 Kev Smith. 213 goes wide, 64 goes second. And the problems down here for Rob Pearce in 175, who's ground to a sudden halt. His races, Robbie, are still battling. And 91 leads from 64. 213 Des Chandler. Then it's 212 Frankie Wayman and 34 mile round. Problems free and fast at 77 as he's going down the back straight now, opposite you now. 406 Johnson from the front, they're all over before 1-3 the race leader, but he's on the infield. Kaiser in 380 has it from number 80 John Ankers. Tangling up and still has it from 380. John Lund in 53 has lost time and he's been lapped. He will do it. Stephen Kaiser in 380 wins the Formula 1 final. 34 mile round gets turned around. Coming through this time in
3, John Lund, number 1, Peter Faulding.
The May the 30th Bradford started with a Peter Faulding won red top race, but before that Rob Hughes was talking to the most rollover victim this season, North Killingholme's Matthew Bennett.
Matt, can you tell me about the interview, that incident?
Yeah, I come into the bend, I was in the lead, a back marker at the fence, and I couldn't avoid him, he bounced out the fence, he must have hit my back wheel which blew the tyre, and I throttled round the bend, and that's basically it, I went over. Back end must have dug in, but front axle was smashed in the middle which I didn't know about, just dug in and took me over, another airfoil wrecked.
Before you knew it, you were right over on your side, but you got out the car and you were hoping that they could have got it back on the wheels before the start.
Yeah, I was bloody mad to put it politely. I wanted it back over because it doesn't do them any good sat on the roof for a full race.
Particularly if anything could have happened and somebody calling the roll cage and giving you a whole heap more of damage.
Yeah, it wasn't on the track, but it wasn't far from the track. If someone had spun off and hit the car, could have done a lot more damage. I wanted it back over.
Now, on the lighter side, was that your first visit to Chesterton or had you been before?
No, that's my second visit. I went once last year.
How do you rate the comparison?
Much better. Nice smooth track, very fast. I enjoyed the racing even though I went on the roof, it was a good night.
And how would you rate it compared to what is your favourite track, in fact? I mean, you do prefer the Shale, I do understand.
Yeah, Kings Lynn's the best track out in my view. I really like that. Cause, well, Boston was the best track, but Kings Lynn now.
471. Oh, just look at that. And Burns has really done.
The rest of the meeting saw big cheers reserved for two yellow top heat winners, Mark Gilbank, who was by now well into the Formula 1 spotlight, and Stapleford's Formula 1 ambassador Richard Knight, who drove his budget 436 machine over the line first and into the hearts of some new fans. The rest of the Grand Prix format heats went to Richard Mason and Bobby Burns, with another big race going to Phil Smith. Phil's final featured yet another rollover, with Barry Heath catching the beams wrong, and yet more red top rivalry between John Lund and Kev Smith. John took revenge on car number 64 and won the Grand National, bringing May to a close on a high note of shale racing.
And Matthew Bennett still at the moment. There's a good battle for second. Oh, look at Kev Smith going in on John Lund. He takes him out. Smith has taken the checker flag as Lisa Harter has a fire in her car. Red flags out immediately. That lady needs to get out of that car pretty sharpish.
Ooh, well, hey, that went in nice and hard, my goodness me. Certainly rattled his feet a little bit with Kev Smith. I've got a long memory, he'll probably remember that, but my goodness, John Lund certainly didn't stand on any ceremony whatsoever. Number 53, Lund trying desperately to get him up, tries on the inside, slide, Burns away. Oh, they both got to agree down there. Who's the first to go away? They're going through there now, and it looks like a John Lund win. Number 53, oh, no, way over there goes one of our competitors there. There's the checkered flag.
The Kings Lane Stage BSCDA Charity Gala meeting was a unique event, organised and promoted by the British Stock Car Drivers Association and designed to put the life back into most people's holiday season. As an 80-car charity blockbuster, the April the 5th meeting didn't quite match the hype, but there were still 65 cars and a helicopter in attendance, racing over an 8-race programme. The 4 qualification heats went to Faulding, King, Murray, Harrison and Hodgson, with the consolation going to John Lund. The 2 sudden death semi-finals went to Les Spencer and Bobby Burns, and the final featured Peter Faulding at his very best. And although the defending number 1 was now trailing in the points, he passed the new Junior Wayman car for the main event trophy. While there was no shortage of racing going on at the gala day, the meeting soon lacked the sparkle of the previous week when the overambitious programme began to drag out towards the end. And while many stayed away, a lot of new sponsors liked what they saw and will return to the Northampton Stage 1995 event.
Returns to Kingsler's orders, 25 racing lap. So that's the green flag, we're away and racing. With a charity gala meeting, Grand Final. Wayman and John Lund have tangled out. Sideline going down into turn 2. Around that bend he comes. There's the checker flag. Then Peter Faulding wins the BSC. Dave Beresford in 6-2-6-0.
After 3 meetings ruined by rain, tradition prevailed with the June Long Eaton, just a little dusty. Rob Cowley wasn't complaining though, and after a near decade of trying won his heat and drove to his first Station Road final. A second victory just as well received was Dave Beresford's Stocks Line Grand National Heat, along with white top heat victories going to Dave Willis and Chris Broxall. Drivers not doing well on June the 11th included Andy Smith, John Lund and Junior Wayman. Junior raced his stunning new shell car to little or no effect, despite a commanding national points lead. The grading list movements in time for June, including Craig Howarth, Rob Cowley and Danny Clark making it into the red grade. Meeting heat winner Dave Johnson nearly beat Rob Cowley for the final, yet despite 8 race wins by this point in the season, the Chesterfield ace was to remain a blue top.
91 Wolf Warns it is, but there's the flag going out for Rob Cowley and gets shunted fence swings there, he goes in, so does Ben McCrudden, so I think that's Junior Wayman spins himself in 5-1-5. And there's the checker flag, and Dave Beresford wins it in 2-6-0. Second Bannington in 4-8-2.
The best racing of June was once again waiting at Bradford when on June the 25th at the Otso Bowl the year's most destructive final took place with only 6 cars finishing the main event. The heats featured wins by Steve Smith, Beresford, Harrison and Johnson with a Rob Butterfield Grand National along with 4 rollovers and enough pile-ups to last a month. Next up is the final, which could well have been the most destructive race of June.
Emerging from the cab, there he comes. And he's been pulled to the inside on the home stretch in front of number 53. He's gone and taken out a surface in the grand final. First casualty, Richard Mason, tail 2 is turning around on the home straight. There's Martin 7 Wilson in 277. Mason trying to fire the engine up and get back into the action. He's disturbed the beams and disturbed his chances, and it's Martin 7 277 through in the lead. From Steve Smith to number 40, and getting back the treatment from Richard Johnson behind him in 78. Steve Smith is nudged out well on turn 2. It's 7 the leader, down the back straight from Johnson 78 and Mike Hines in 236. At the back at the moment it's number 1, Peter Fielding. And the runners come through, down the home straight again with another lap completed. Best of the Reds is Keith Chambers in 250. Leading the charge on the field with Kev Smith in touch with him in 64. Down on the home straight we've lost Ian Higgins, 29. He's caught that beam that's been dislodged and he's lost a bit of time. Now being lapped by the leaders, it's still 7 in first place in 277. But Richard Johnson 78 and Mike Hines in 236. Shane Bell bouncing the fence up on turn 1 in a 371 car. Now the leaders through down the home straight. 277 first, 78 second and 236 third, and just behind him now Craig Howard in 52, and then Barry Heath in 343. And down on the home straight, that's John Lumley's in time in 53. And 172 Stevie Hutchin parks up on the turn 4 exit. He gets his car off the racing line and onto the infield, another tangle there takes out Andy Swift 491 down on turn 4. So looking around circuit to find the leaders. There's a change up front now. It's 78 Richard Johnson. The yellows are called for. We go yellow. Keith Chambers has rolled it down there on turn 3. And Johnson who leads up down around the pit turn and back to the home straight. 78 in lead position from 52 Craig Howard. 34 Mel Brown is third and 343 Barry Heath is fourth. Onto the back straight they go, the leading car stretching out down that straight. Matt Bennett next in line behind Les Spencer. And then Kev Smith who's pushing and shoving his way through, but he's having a battle now with 97 Murray Harrison down at the tail end of the leading group. It's 7th place that those two are battling over. Lead car is still Richard Johnson, but he's coming under pressure from Craig Howard. The 52 car on the inside line and trying to make progress. 94 Mel Brown is third and Barry Heath is fourth in 343. It will be an halfway next time. And it's Johnson the leader from Howard with Brown and Heath next in line. Barry Harrison losing time on turn 4 that time through. And here we go for halfway and it's Craig Howard who leads now in 52 from Richard Johnson 78 and Mel Brown 34. Fourth is 343 Barry Heath and fifth 98 Les Spencer. In sixth it's Matt Bennett in 413. 7th is 260 Dave Rose from 864 Kev Smith and the 9th and 10th. And Murray Harrison and Will John Rumbles cut the parked Frankie Wembley car down the back straight and spun himself away down towards turn 3. And a big shot develops down the home straight as one of those beams catches him out. It's destroyed the chances of Kev Smith and Barry Heath and Matt Bennett and Dave Rose have also got involved. So
dramatic changes there, and it's 52 Craig Howard the leader from 78 Richard Johnson and 34 Mel Brown with 98 Les Spencer in fourth. There's a gap behind them to the next man in line. It was Murray House at 97 and then Peter Foley number 1. And Howard slows up on turn 4 and there's a big shutdown there. Howard just almost came to a standstill, and it was Richard Johnson and Mel Brown who were probably behind him and both bounced the fence hard. And all of a sudden it's 98 Les Spencer leads now from number 1 Peter Foley and 260 Dave Beresford. The field is being decimated around the circuit. Only a handful of cars left running, and it's Les Spencer the leader in 98 with 5 to run next time. Peter Fielding trying to close him down in number 1 with Dave Beresford back in third in 2.60. Running fourth is Mike Ives in 2.36. In fifth it's 34 Mel Brown. Murray Harrison still going, but only just in the 97 car. The luckless Craig Howard 52 continues to circulate, and Peter Fielding closing all the time on Les Spencer as they go to the back straight in the closing stages. Dave Beresford still in touch with them, and off turn 4 they come with Fielding trying to outthink Les Spencer into the home straight. So Fielding takes the lead, leans a little bit on Spencer down on turn 1, and Beresford's right in there with them. It's number 1 from 98 and 2.60, and those three half an hour clear of the only other few left running. Into the home straight with about 3 to run. And Fielding going clear, and Murray Harrison's finally retired. The car looking sick for the last few laps. He's pulled it up down the back straight. We've got 6 left running, and it's Peter Fielding the leader, and Beresford and Spencer playing bumper work with each other in second place. And while they do, Fielding gets away. He's round turn 2, he's onto the back straight. He's around a lap and a half away from the checkered flag in tonight's grand final. And still Dave Beresford can't shift Les Spencer. He tries again on the inside around the pit turn. But race leader Peter Fielding's on his last. The number 1 car is onto the back straight from 98 Les Spencer and 2.60 Dave Beresford. Down around the pit turn, and this time through it's the checkered flag for number 1 Peter Fielding. Into the home straight he comes. Fielding wins it. Les Spencer, a great drive by him under severe pressure from Dave Beresford over the last few laps, but he held on to take second with Beresford third.
Of the North, after Peter Fielding, Junior Wayman and the Hodgson brothers, Andy Smith looks like being the last of the North's second-generation Formula 1 drivers. And by the end of the 1994 season, he shows every possibility of becoming the best. Andy started his oval track career in 1985 at the wheel of the mini-stocks formula. During his first few years, Andy watched from the low grades as Frankie Wayman and Rob Speake won the points championships until improved machinery saw a rise to a steady blue grade in 1986. 2 years on, in 1988, while Frankie Wayman Jr. rose to the superstar grade in Brisca Formula 1, the young Smith burst out of the blue ranks and into a national points battle with 272 Andy Hodgson. Thanks to a state-of-the-art lightweight car and support from the main mini-stocks man Martin O'Neill, Andy won the 88 Silver Roof and went on to retire in early 89 at the top of the sport. After his last year of school, Andy returned to the track at the closing hot stock session of the 1989 season on November the 25th at Birmingham Wheels, in a Frankie Wayman-built replica of Stuart Smith's original Wildcat. Engine trouble left this meeting pointless for young Andy, but this proved to be the only true setback in the 391 hot stocks career. During the off-season, Andy received some rare physical assistance from the legend himself, Stuart, when the Rochdale team went to work on the Rover power unit. After just £800 worth of work, Andy was left with a car which took him to the top star grade spot of the first regrading, beaten to superstar by Steve Hodgson by just 10 points. 1990 then became a determined campaign for the superstar grade, with the low average reflecting a mere red roof. This all changed in time for the closing meetings, however, when the last part of 1990 saw 391 winning most Long Eaton and Scunthorpe meetings. And at the last Birmingham session in the season, Andy took the top points haul, a significant improvement over his first visit 12 months earlier. 1991 was the golden year of hot stocks racing, with the largest ever drivers list crowned by national points supremacy battle raging between ex-Formula 1 star Richard Ainsworth and new kid Andy Smith.
The two were locked in battle for the first half of the season, but following an arm injury to Richard in July and a determined Ray Witt's challenge, Andy was in second by August. But now Smith was the #1 race winner with 28 victories over Witt's 19. And on September 21st, when the biggest turnout of hot stocks ever arrived at Long Eaton Sports Stadium for the Hot Stocks Nationals, Andy claimed his first gold. From his road to start, Andy lost places at the start, but won second place from the infamous Phil Haig, and then tracked race leader Keith Chambers up to turn 1 on lap 1, when a massive 391 thrash saw the 250 car in the wires and out of the race. Andy followed up his first gold roof with a meeting final victory at Long Eaton, and 1 month later the Grand National Championship as well, where once again Andy lost place at the start, but took Phil Haig and Keith Chambers in the early stages, and this time rode out a turn 1 250 hit for the Grand National Championship title. With the final 1991 printed, Andy Smith, longest gold roof holder ever at just 18 years old, going one better than the 19-year-old point champion Ray Witts. Although Ray was 200 points clear, Andy had dominated the shale tracks in 1991, and from his 42 meetings, the 391 car had collected 44 checkers, a win ratio for Old Man Stewart to be proud of. 1992 started bad for Andy with his new gold roof attracting a rollover and Keith Chambers aggro at the season opener. And although Smith stayed a healthy second in the National Points Championship, something had to be done about his lacklustre tarmac results. And that something was Andy's first ever self-built stock car. The product of the 19-year-old's car building session featured every allowable trick in the book, executed to perfection, and had the crowds drooling at the April 12th joint F1 meeting at Hensford, where after just one afternoon's practice it won heat, final and Grand National in its first day's racing. The drivetrain under the wheels was the most radically offset to date. The ride height was set to the absolute minimum, and the axles featured the perfect degree of wedge for Hensford. The new supercar was even in the spirit of hot stocks, with leaf-sprung running gear and the chassis components coming straight from the scrapyard. Apart from the obvious effect on entertainment value, there was just one fault with the car. It was 35 kilograms underweight, a misdemeanor which lost Andy all points and prize money from the Hensford, along with a 3-meeting ban and a 12-month suspended sentence. This came as a particular embarrassment, with Andy now the Hot Stocks Drivers Committee chairman. On the few occasions that the tarmac special was beaten in 1992, Andy was either suffering engine trouble or receiving the hassle reserved for the next generation of race car. But Andy's season passed with the gold roof retained, an overflowing order book for tarmac machines, and sponsorship lined up for the second 391 assault on the big league. By this point in his career, Andy was no stranger to the F1 scene. Whilst racing at the top of the Hot Stocks formula, Andy had been travelling to every possible Formula 1 meeting with Peter Folding, and was racing spare 33 cars for most of the early 90s, with improving results by the end of 1992. It was with this experience to hand that Andy made his big league debut on July the 11th, 1993, and a first race win on July 17th at Skegness. Andy's first Brisca Formula 1 car was the centre of attraction for months to come in stock car circles, thanks to its ultra-small cab, extreme angled wing, and intimidating midlight blue colour scheme, which brought in a new era of Formula 1 paintwork. The power unit was an ex-Alan Jackson 510-inch big block, with KPH tyres sponsoring the sleekest-looking Formula 1 stock car of the 90s. Following the Grand National win at Skegness, the 391 car raced to a heat and Grand National at the Buxton semi-final meeting, and on August 1st, 1993, Andy won all 3 heats at Hartlepool along with his first Brisca final. From this point on, Andy was winning at every tarmac track, with shale results coming right at Long Eaton's September 11th meeting. This was Andy's first heat and final double on shale, rounded off with the Grand National 4th. The rest of 93 just got better and better, with the Chesterton final win, the double at Coventry and a Grand Prix Series 3rd. By the end of 1993, Andy was 6th in the points and 3rd in the race winners chart, and starting his first full Brisca Formula 1 season in '94, looked well on course to independently take the Smith name to the undisputed top of stock car racing for the second time, and fulfill his own destiny as a world-class stock car driver.
July started in style at Long Eaton with the 1994 debut of a stunning Lisa Harter all-yellow Lund-style racer. There are a few outings in 1993. Both Lisa and Dan look to be out for results, with 3 new cars debuted over the next months, including the Chris Alwell tarmac machine, raced well at Northampton, and an all-blue Lund machine for Dan, which crashed at Stoke. The meeting also saw final winner Peter Faulding getting caught up with Neil Scollin, some varying track surfaces and some edge-of-seat laps at the end of a very dusty final, which we join next.
Steve Matthews is on the infield. Wally Piddham was the one in trouble on the back straight, and Rob Allen has spun out with Steve Smith coming off to... Oh, Lisa Harder's cooked it down on turn 1, and also in trouble there is right. In second, it's number 1, Peter Faulding. In third, 260 Dave Beresford. John Lund is 4th in 53. Keith Chambers 5th in 250, and Paul Harrison 6th in number 2. The 391 Andy Smith still has that lead. Peter Faulding's catching him in car number 1. Those two have gone clear of the field, but Faulding is running out of time. There are 3 to run this time through, and it's Andy Smith 391 being pursued by Peter Faulding in number 1. Andy Smith has got a lot of back markers to deal with. There's a handful of them in front of him on the back straight, and Peter Faulding is closing that gap all the time. They're down on the pit turn now, and it's 391 and number 1. And this race is going to go all the way as they come through with a couple to run. Andy Smith from Peter Faulding, shoving back markers out of his way, piling them up down on turn 1. He sets his sights on Andy Smith. 391 and number 1, they're on turns 3 and 4, they're coming through to start the last lap. Andy Smith has the lead from Peter Faulding, who will try to push Andy Smith out, and there goes the bumper connecting on turn 1. Andy Smith is shoved out wide, and Peter Faulding's alongside him, and they're on the back straight, and Peter Faulding's taken the lead, and they go down that back straight for the last time, and Andy Smith's trying to close in and shove Faulding out. Around turns 3 and 4 they come, with back markers around him, but Faulding's found the way through, and Faulding wins it in number 1. Andy Smith is second in 391. And they start to come through now, led home the rest of them by Dave Beresford and John Lund, and then Keith Chambers and Paul shoved on the back straight with a couple of cars facing each other.
The Grand National saw Lisa Harter finally get a result with a control third, and the most nasty Kev Smith drill on Dave Beresford, which remains unreturned to this day.
Kev Smith, who demolishes the Dave Beresford car into the fence. Paul Harrison takes the check-in in number 2. Keith Chambers finishes second in 2.5.
Just one weekend now remained before the start of the final World Championship stages. This was a Trackstar Speed weekend at the Skegness Stadium, where what was intended as another split grades entertainment experiment was to set in motion a change in Brisca Formula 1 tarmac racing. The 1 week old format splits all tarmac specials into an A class with least run cars, pure show machines and a general low grade going into a hard-tied B class. While the latest Linton car ran away to a 4 out of 6 benefit weekend, the B class were amazing, all with vintage, if unsophisticated, stock car action. Every B race of the weekend featured competitive contact, smoking tyres, masses of pilots, and even opposite lock steering. While it was a well-known fact that all A-B meetings resulted in this, having 3 meetings in a row under this system brought the plight of tarmac racing to everyone's attention, and sure enough, directives were posted which lessened the effectiveness of the tarmac supercars by the end of the year. But it must be said that the A-Class races were not completely without action. In the Sunday final, B-Class reject Jason Holden hammered Michael Smith into the turn 3, and then Stephen Cooper on turn 1. And after upsetting 2 days of consistent results, became a hero of the terraces and the personality of the weekend.